Okay, so really fast. There are a lot of updates to get through in this part. More than normal, more than average. So we're just gonna get through them, okay? First one, merch. This isn't merch. This is Sonic merch. But if you want to get merch from yours truly to support me, then merch is now available on Bonfire. If you don't know what Bonfire is, it's basically a clothing service for creators. Those creators make designs to sell them. Or even not creators, just anyone. And so obviously I'm using that. And so everything's there. And so if you want to support me, that's an avenue you can go down. And you can go to Bonfire and order some shirts. I have this Stay Awesome design, and then I also have this Blake design. Speaking of Blake, where's the little rascal? Blake, you need to stop sleeping. You need to promote your merch. The merch, Blake. Your merch. Okay, I'll let you sleep. You can get merch now from yours truly and Blake, because both of us are on this channel fairly regularly. And that merch comes in both t-shirt form, long sleeve shirt form, and mug form. So feel free to grab any of those you wish. I will be picking some up soon myself. I'm waiting on the delivery. But aside from that, there's also a second way you can support me if you so choose. The second way to support me would be through Throne gifts. If you haven't heard of Throne, let me explain. Basically, in older YouTube, there were P.O. boxes. There were people who made P.O. boxes where they would get a secure address from where they would get a P.O. box and let fans send them stuff to that P.O. box. The reason why they got a P.O. box was because, obviously, it's a little bit too dangerous to just put your address online. So the P.O. box was a relatively safe way to make sure that fans could give what they wanted, meanwhile not compromising anything. However, mailboxes, or P.O. boxes, cost money. And I don't have money. So, Throne is a great alternative. Essentially, it just allows you to send me stuff. And so anything, without you getting any of my information, but also without me getting any of your information. So I won't have any idea where you live, and you won't have any idea where I live. It's a mutual exchange. In that sense, we don't know anyone's money. We don't know each other's addresses, but if you feel like, you can give me stuff. So that works. And so there's either of those two ways. There's Bonfire and there's Throne wish lists if you guys want to support me. But again, these are extra means. You do not have to do them. An easy example of a free way to support is subscribe to the channel, watching the videos, and then just sharing them with people you know. You do not have to spend any money on me. Don't ever feel like you have to do that. But if you want to give me money or give me stuff, these are your options. Bonfire or Throne. And now, the last announcement / update that I needed to say is I'm going to potentially be starting to live stream. So, on next Saturday, because I upload on Saturdays, so it just makes sense to do it on Saturday. Next Saturday, on top of a video more toward the morning, there's also going to be a video, or not a video, but a live stream later that afternoon, specifically at 4 p.m. or 4 in the afternoon. and that's when a live stream will start, where we'll be playing some games and just generally hanging out, and also testing it to see if I even can live stream, see what the limits of it would be for me and my technology. But you can do that, and I should probably give you time zones. That would be 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So adjust that to your time zone if you're not in the area I live, I guess. If you're not in the Central Daylight time zone. But 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time. I hope to see at least some of you there. And again, that'll be next week on the 23rd. Right? The 23rd? Yeah, 23rd. So that'll be on the 23rd. There will still be a video in the morning. And then also, if you would be so kind, follow me on Twitter. Because if you do want to be part of the live stream, because as soon as I start the live stream, I'll tweet out on Twitter, I'm starting to live stream. And I'll also give like a 1 hour warning and stuff like that. And then I'll also remind you on that video that I'm live streaming later that night. So you'll have plenty of notice. I'm giving you a 1 week notice now. I hope to see you all there. And now that the updates are over, we can get to the actual content of this video. Which is... Yeah, we're doing this. You guys can't see it, probably, but the snow is literally to my ankles. And I had to walk here, and the majority of the snow is literally to my knees. So, first off, I would like to say that. I'm going to put this over my shoulder, it looks cooler. To anyone I may have considered, I'm literally right next to a road as well. There's a road right over there. But, to anyone I concerned on my walk here, I deeply apologize. I really hope they see this video so they know I'm not just a crazy person. But yeah, so just so you know, there's so much snow today. Most people are only going out if they absolutely have to. So, this will probably go down in history as one of the stupidest videos on my channel. Hopefully not, I have a lot more stupid ideas. But regardless, I'm out here, outside, with the RWBY Scythe, in the perfect setting, I might add. Because today I wanted to review how effective RWBY Scythe would be as a weapon. I'm sorry there's a lot of wind, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Alright, sorry about that. The camera just fell. Wind blew it over, I'm assuming. But, regardless, this is the review of how effective RWBY Scythe would be as a weapon. Now, initially I wanted to wear an actual RWBY cosplay for this video, but that fell through because I am poor. But I just want to make the video, so I'm making the video. Maybe I'll do a remake in the future. I don't know. But, RWBY Scythe. Now, the reason why I wanted to review it is because over and over again in the show, they talk about how it's the most deadliest weapon ever designed.
So, where did you learn to do this?
Signal Academy?
They taught you to use one of the most dangerous weapons ever designed?
How RWBY put countless time and effort into making sure this is the perfect weapon to kill anything.
I'm kind of a dork when it comes to weapons. I guess I did go a little overboard in designing it.
And in the show, they do demonstrate it working really well. I mean, you can do... Actually, reconfigure how cool it is. You can do really wide slashes with it. Like, really wide. But, in reality... Alright, I moved over a bit to another area where hopefully I was able to rest my phone against something a little more secure. It's also more popular, so more people are going to see this. Great. But I say that as if I'm not releasing it onto the internet for the whole world to see. But basically, the scythe part of the weapon is actually the worst part of it. Because this version of the weapon is made out of foam. But in reality, this would be made out of metal. And that metal, and all that hunk of metal on the end would make this thing weighed way down. To the point that I don't think anyone could lift it, let alone Ruby, who is a small girl. Like preteen girl, basically. Now, I will give the granted that maybe in the RWBY universe, they are just simply stronger than we are in our real universe. So then it would be more feasible. But even then, there's a reason scythes aren't used in real world combat. However, aside from all of that, this is actually very effective. First off, in terms of cutting capacity on the scythe, it has a little gun thing in this part of the scythe, so that way it can literally blast through opponents. I'll put examples on screen so you can see. But I can't really move my feet much, I'm sorry. I wanted to be more active for this video. But, you know, I'm literally tripping everywhere I try to step. But the other thing about RWBY Scythe is it also functions as a gun. In fact, the base of it is actually, RWBY actually calls her Scythe a customized assault rifle.
So, I got this thing.
Whoa! Is that a scythe?
It's also a customizable, high-impact sniper rifle.
A what?
It's also a gun.
So in actuality, the thing's true purpose and core design is in being an assault rifle. Which would be more, I don't know how to use a gun. But it'd be more like this, where you're scoping it down. Which actually, when you look at it, if you look through the scope, her scythe actually gets in the way of the scope. The scythe head spike actually gets in the way of it. So, that scope, at least while it's in scythe mode, isn't doing RWBY all too much. But, you know, again, aside from the scythe aspect, which scythes are just amazing. Well, not amazing, but scythes are one of those weapons, but they look cool, but they aren't practical in any sort of real-life capacity. People did use them, of course. There are historical examples of people using scythes, but it was very rare. Scythes were mainly gardening tools. And so obviously when it came down to revolutions and things, some farmers did grab their scythes. But mostly, predominantly, no. This was not a battlefield weapon. It was never meant for battle. And even altered versions of the scythe make it more of a spear. Which brings me to the second part, the third and final part of RWBY Scythe. I don't think I need to go into why guns effective. Go shooty bang bang. It's effective. But the other part of this, the melee part of this, is actually the most effective, is the part RWBY doesn't use in the show that I've seen, which is the spear. Now spears were heavily used on the medieval battlefield, and for good reason. In battle, you want to keep your opponent at as far of a distance as possible, so you're not putting yourself in danger. And the spear was perfect for letting you get long-range shots in, while also allowing you to be at good distance from your opponents. And again, I'm tripping over snow. But it let you keep a good distance. So, the spear part, in terms of the melee weapons, is actually the most effective part of it, and it's the part RWBY never uses. I mean, she uses it, the only time I can think for actually using the spiked end is in one scene where she's using it to play with the bow. She's holding meat on it. But aside from that, you don't really see her using it in combat, which is where it would actually be most effective. And so, but instead you see her using the scythe part, which, again, while it has a lot of cutting capacity, and the scythe can obviously transform and stuff, like it can move its position, the scythe part is actually the most redundant part. And would add a bunch of excess weight that is really just unneeded, when she could have just had an assault rifle spear. Just completely remove the scythe head and just had an assault rifle spear would have been the best possible weapon. and maybe it could transform into a sword. I don't know. Because swords are also really heavily used because they were effective. But that pretty much concludes a look at the Scythe itself in terms of effectiveness. But regardless, it is a very cool Scythe. That is not lost on me. RWBY Scythes in general, especially RWBY Scythe, looks incredibly cool. And I know why Monty Ohm wanted it into the show, but it's just not very practical. Ultimately, the most practical weapon of the group is actually Blake's weapon set, because she has both an actual gun and an actual blade. Now I'm gonna go home. I'm tired of being out here in the snow.